Ani Pujo, Niwagnabik Sagatoy Gabwik Dishnakas, Mang Nidorum, Manitou Rapids Don Jaba. My English name is Angela Nannie. My universal name is Angie. I, after half a century, 50 years of living, my amnesia cracked and certain memories of the residential school came back. I have gone through healing, sweat lodges, and learning. I also went to college to learn about the effects of the residential school on our people. And it was a social service worker, native specialization in Sault Ste. Marie. Good program. I recommend it because we learn about what happened to us as a people there. Because we don't really actually know. I lived my whole life without realizing all of the impact the residential school had on me. So when I was 11 years old, I got booted out of the residential school. I was expelled on the spot after I pretty nearly killed a nun. And I boarded in Fort Frances for the rest of that school year. And I never went to school. I just I turned bad. When in the residential school, I was doing lots of good things, but I turned bad, and I was 10 years old, and that was after my cousin died. So that's just a little wrap of, of what I've been talking about in the last two videos. And my mom, to stop me from going into a school for kids, like a jail called training school for kids. I was gonna be sent there, so my mom come pick me up. They were in the bush. My mom and dad came pick me up, and they sent me to Toronto to live with my sister. And that's where I stayed. I fell in love with Toronto, and so I've been over there for many years, on and off, and around the whole country. But that is where my boys' dad and me got together. That's where I learned about. They taught me a lot of world issues that's going on with our people. So that brought that to the forefront of me learning. I'm learning. I never got to spend, I never got any teachings, learnings, just here and there. I wasn't raised by my parents. I was on my own, so I believe in my dreams. I believe in the universe. I believe what I was being taught and told and shown throughout my life, which I never ever thought about until my amnesia cracked in 2007. And so I did a whole life review, and so I want to talk this portion about my children and how I raised my children. So the very first, I want to just start with the very first teaching my mom gave me, because I came back to this area when my first baby was born. I was 17 years old when I had my first son. And right after I got out of the hospital, she gave me a teaching, and told me, she says, when our children become adults, she says, we can no longer tell them what to do. We can no longer make them feel bad about what they're doing. We can't save them from their bad relationships or we can't, once they're an adult, she says, that's, that's for them to do for themselves. They've got to help themselves, and they have to learn and grow. And so when she gave me this teaching, my baby was only like 5 days old, and it helped me. It it gave me something like something to hold on to, something to hang on to, something to believe in, something to help me raise my children, because I never got parented. And so that is the way I raised my kids, and I swore I was never gonna let happen anything to them what happened to me. And luckily there was no more residential schools when my children were born. That was a darn good thing. I don't know what I would have done if I had to send my baby to a residential school. I can't imagine. I can't imagine what my parents went through. I can't imagine what our people went through. When that was all forced on us. It wasn't our choice. This is not the way we lived. This is not the way we raised our families. In a military school, no love, no nothing, 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 nothing. Cold, stone, brick, just like this. So, I try to be the best mom I could. I love my babies. Nobody could rip my babies out of my arms. They were just so precious to me. So precious. And each one of them, I got six. So each one of them, when they were born, I could just see their personality in them when they were born, when they were a month old, when they were 3 years old. I'm just going like, and this is the one thing that I learned was how to not, because this is what happened to me in the residential school. But I never tried to bend, mold, or break my children's spirit. I let them be who they are when they came into this world. I I and I love them for who they were, and they had all their own personalities when they came. All six of them. And so when they were babies, it was very, very, very easy for me to raise my children after I got shown like some certain things to do, because I spent the first 4 months with my mom before I went back to Toronto. And so she showed me a lot of things about how to take care of your baby. And so it was easy after that, no problem. The problem came when they got a little bit older, and I didn't know how to discipline them. I didn't know how to teach them or even warn them. Like I tell my son today, I says, I brought your kids into this world, and let you go out into the world naked. I says, I never even once ever told my kids that there's such a thing as sexual abuse, because it wasn't in my life. And I changed my life when I met my girls' dad, my boys' dad. I had been drinking when I was a young teenager, and then I quit drinking when I was 17 years old until I was about 30 years old. So I didn't drink alcohol in that time. So I raised my kids sober, and God, I forgot what I was saying. You gotta cut there and just let it go. I can't think right now. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna finish this little portion now for saying that my mom's teaching really gave me guidance throughout because I was on my own family with my own, doing my own thing, going, living where I want to live and being the way I want to be. And I wanted to be with traditional people. So that's where we started. But eventually, after all those many years of, I lived in the States and New York State and Adirondack Mountains, living with the Mohawks and learning all of their traditions and ceremonies and things like that in Ganyonge. That's all of this was really important to help me to raise my kids in a good way. And of course, until they got older, then became a little bit harder because I didn't know how to discipline and all of that. But I just want to share some of the things that have that I have done, and because when I broke up with my girls' dad, they're the younger ones, my girls' dad, I moved to Alberta after I had those dreams in '85, dreams about the future of what's going to happen to our land and our country and the world, actually. Um, and I moved over there because of the mountain dream that I got, and I thought I had to be near the mountains because I wanted to make sure my kids would survive whatever. And I also want to share my namesake, my namesakes, the elderly lady who gave me my name. She also named my third son Blue Jay, which is his name is Wezalganeash Babe Amagijik. And he was a baby when we came back here, and he got his name. And she gathered us because I was visited for a couple of months, maybe about 3 months. I was visited on Manitou, and she called us her namesakes together in a meeting. That was in 1977, and she got us all together and she talked to us, and she says that there's going to be some things that are going to be happening to the land, the earth, the water, the air, and she wanted us to go back to our way. She says we have to go back to our way. We have to live the way we used to live. We have to protect ourselves. And there was, like, my mom was translating because she was talking in Indian, and I couldn't understand really everything she was saying. So my mom translated later. But even my mom couldn't understand a lot of the things either because she says that she talked the old language. She says my mom didn't know the old language, so she didn't really understand either what my namesakes was saying about what's going to happen to this earth. And but there's a way that we can protect ourselves by going back to the way we used to be and connect with all that is our universe. Be respectful, love everything, everything on this earth. And so that was the whole reasoning why I went to Alberta when I got that dream about a mountain that we have to go into a mountain where we can be saved from devastation of our world. Can't live on our earth anymore. And so when I got to Alberta and me and my kids all moved over there, well, there's just a few things like there's a few things that I just want to share about the things that I did because I was always so broke. I was on OW. I'd been a dependent wife before. The dads always took care, so I had to be on welfare when I went to Alberta, and the portion I stayed in Sudbury, 2 years in Sudbury, and so because of having no money, I had to develop a lot of different things to do. The Dickie D that just sticks in my mind so big time because I lived in a low income housing, which was in a really kind of a nice neighborhood, and that Dickie D would come around and you could hear that bell going. I never had money. I got 6 kids. I never had the money to go out there and go let them go. But you could see the neighbor kids running out there, and they would always just seem to always stop right in front of my house. My kids, where my kids couldn't go. My kids couldn't go, but there's a Dickie Dee right in front of our window. It's like, jeez. So I developed slushies. So I got that, and I would put it in the fridge. A Kool-Aid, I'd put it in the freezer, stir it up, and stir it up. I put it back in the freezer, stir it up, and then pretty soon my kids would be eating slushy with a spoon, and they loved it. And then I started buying ice cream and ice cream cones so my kids could have, and they wouldn't have to sit there and worry about all those people with money and buying things. And that's one of the things that I developed, I did in order to get by. There's another thing that I never had money to do any extracurricular things with my kids. They couldn't go play sports. They couldn't go do anything like this because I never had the money. And so I invested into board games, cards, dice, um, like games like that, games that we could all sit and play, and that's what we did. We we we, we called ourselves the games family. We always played games. We always sat around together, and that was our extracurricular. And I spent that time with my kids. And then another thing that I did was I bought a camera. I bought a camera just because actually in Calgary it was not such a bad city and there was lots of different places and to go venture around. And my kids are free because they're kids so they were free on the transit. So I would take them all over. We'd go venturing all over. We would check out this place, that place. We would take pictures here. We discovered those big tall people letters right downtown. We'd try to take pictures there. We'd find all kinds of nice spots to take pictures. So that was our adventuring. We'd go and adventure all the time. And then that's how we discovered the rope park. And we called it the rope park. I don't know what it is, but it was a big pole with big rope that came down like this, and they crisscrossed and went around. We found those big, I think red. I think they were red. I think my daughter told me. I forget. They're red or orange. But we said, "What is that?" We're going, "What is that? What is that?" We started climbing on it, and oh my gosh, that was it. I says we started playing tag, and nobody could touch the ground except for the youngest one, my Cheyenne, she was the baby. So she got to run around all over. Go when she was it, she could run around anywhere and start anywhere, and just jump around. But all of us, we had to stay on the ropes, and we would just, oh my God, we had so much fun. We had so much fun, and we actually discovered like three of them in three different areas of Calgary. And so yeah, that's kind of things that we did, to that I spent time with my kids and did things with my children, and we had fun. We were always laughing, always laughing. And then the one place there. This was after my girls had moved in with their dad, and I gave them to my dad, and I mean to their dad, and so they came on every weekend. And me and my sister had this house. It was a green four split level house. It had five. It had five bedrooms, and we all had a room. Each I had my three boys and me and my sister and her one boy. So we all had our own rooms, and the back alley was a graveyard. And pretty soon we started realizing that this place was haunted. And we just like different all one we would all have different experiences. So we like I even wanted to do a seance. That's how like it was. Like it really was haunted. Like I know this one day I came in, and I came in the back door, and I says, "Hello, anybody home?" And no answer. We had a cat, but that cat, once we moved to that house, it just like would leave. It never came back. It left. She left. But anyway, so no answer. I started to grab a load of laundry, and I was like, we had a washing machine in there and a dryer, and I was gonna throw my load in, and I got back into that little laundry room, and then up on the second floor, upstairs there, I heard a ball, doom, 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 doom. It just like out of nowhere, and I just split. I just took off. Oh my God, I just like, wow, because I knew nobody was in there. Nobody was in the house. So different things like that, like different things happen to different people. So all of us had something happen to us. So anyways, we developed a game of hide and seek every weekend. We'd wait till it was just black outside, no nothing. We'd shut all the windows and make sure that there was no outside street lights coming in, and we'd blacken the whole house. We'd play hide and seek in our haunted house. Oh my God. Oh my God. We had so much fun. We lived in that house, me and my sister, for 11 months. And every weekend we did that. Every weekend my girls would come over, sleep over for the weekend. And so these are some of the fun things that I did and developed. And, my kids remember all of the stuff that we did in Calgary, because they were by this time in their like six. My baby, when we moved to Calgary, my baby was 3. I think she was 3. Yeah, so that, and then my daughter reminded me, and she says, I want you to share this. Because there was, when we first got to Calgary, we stayed in, the girls' dad got us a place on the Morley Reserve. So first summer, we rented a house on the reserve, like, and we were right in the bush, in the mountains, in the bush. And just one house, there was one house that was far away and you couldn't even see it. So we were like by ourselves there. But anyway, my boys would venture out and they would pack a little lunch and they would go out in the woods and, not my girls, though, but just my three boys. And they would go and then they would come back before it got dark. And so, you know, At least I knew that they were still alive and stuff, but I trusted them and I trusted nature and I trusted the universe that they would take care of my children. And we had a dog too, so that made it okay. 'Cause that's the first time I let my kids venture around in the mountains, 'cause there's grizzly bears over there. But anyway, there's one day they were all playing by the house, and we were up on a hill. Our place was up on a hill, and then it must have rained and everything like this, and then and they were going like, "Mom, there's a rainbow!" And then the big rainbow, it was just came over like our house, and it went down to the where the cars got to drive, and when they ran down there, look at that's the end of the rainbow. They found the end of the rainbow. And when they all ran down there was five of them, not my baby. She was too little. But anyway, all five of them went running in there, and you could just see the speckles. It was speckles, like speckles, spot, 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 speckles, speckles, speckle, all the different colors of the rainbow. And they all just went in it. They were at the end of the rainbow. And that's what she wanted me to share. She loved that. That was in Morley, Alberta. So there's some other parks. Rainbow. Well, I guess I just can share that too. That like letting your children be, letting them grow, letting them be who they are, never trying to force them and change them and make them something else that they're not. That is very, very, very important to me. And so I want to share a couple of stories about my one son, my very firstborn son that happened like when he was 4 years old, and we're coming on the bus to visit on my reserve with my family. They came and got me in Ganyanga. My oldest son was 4 at the time, and he went up on this house. We went to the store, the older people, and my cousin. I stayed at my cousin's. Her mom was an old lady, and they had a little boy that same age as my son. Anyways, we went to the store to go get something for supper. Didn't think nothing. Didn't think nothing of it. Left the two boys there with the old lady. And then when we came back, we pulled in, and then next thing you know, I heard they had a big kind of like backyard. Hi, Mom. And looked around. Where is he? You can't hide. There's nothing to hide behind. And then he says, "Hi, Mom," again. And I looked up. There's those two little boys. They were on a little ledge about this probably. That went around the house. It was probably only about that thick. So it went around the house on the second floor up there. And there's those two little boys. They were on that ledge like this. And they got off from the balcony. They started at the balcony, and they were trying to make it to that window. We found that out. And there they were. They were just my stomach. I just I went running, ran in the door, I ran upstairs to the balcony, and I just says, "Boo boo." I said, "Come back this way," and they started coming. And nobody said anything. Everybody was just like freaking out. There's two little boys up there on the wall on the outside of the house. Anyway, he starts coming back, and then of course my son did too. He starts coming back towards the balcony, and I gave him a hug. I gave my son a hug when he came in. Oh my God. So that's you know, I didn't get mad, I didn't get angry, I didn't say that you're hurt, I'm hurt, I was scared, I was feared, I never anything. I didn't say anything. All I did was hug. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was so thankful, they didn't fall off. So then eventually he got bigger, and when we moved to Alberta, we used to go to this place called Alba Falls. and they had 3 tiers of lookout because the falls are right there, great big rapids, the falls, and the river, the Elbow River, the mountain, on the other side, and there was 3 tiers to look out. And so there's me and my sister. We was up on the third, and the kids were running around. My girls were with their dad all by this time, and the boys were I just let the boys go. I never tried to stop them. So my sister and me were talking. I was facing the mountain. She was facing the rapids. And then all of a sudden, on that tier, where that tier ended, I seen a little black something coming up. And I was looking at it while we were talking. I thought, oh my God, there's my son, Anker. And I just fucking grabbed my sister and I says, trust me, Brenda. I said, don't move. I said, don't say anything. Please, please, just trust me, trust me. And I just held her and I held her and I held her and I held her. And then I was just watching 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, when I seen the fourth little black head coming out of there, those little boys, they scaled that mountain. And they scaled all the way straight up, and it came like this, where it came up to that tier, came like that. That's where they were coming up. They scaled. Oh my God. And again, like, I don't know what that's called, but I know there was spiritual stuff going on, because if my sister would have fought me and she would have looked back, she would have went crazy screaming. She would have been filled with fear, and that could have maybe done something with them kids. What them kids were doing, that could have maybe lost their footing or something. There was people there, and all those people were like looking somewhere else. Those people didn't even see them boys coming up, because if they saw them boys coming up, they would have freaked out, and they could have lost their footing. And then when my sister, she just about fainted when she realized, because her son was the last one, he was the youngest one, and she just about fainted. She just almost crumbled, like she just like, whoa, that was pretty scary. But anyway, resolve. I don't know if that's what it is, but that's what I had. It was resolve, and I counted on the universe. I believed in the universe. I believed in our spirits. I believed in our helpers. I believed in our guides to protect. Wow, chimigwech. Hi, I would like to add these last words on my Indian residential school experience. Despite all my love and good intentions to give my children a strong foundation and a fighting chance to face the future with, I fell short. I made huge mistakes. I harmed my children by giving them away. My youngest son, I gave to my mom when he was 1 year old to 3. When my mom died, I gave him to my sister Brenda from the ages of 3 to 9. My oldest son was with my mom from the age of 4 to 5, and then he went to live with my oldest sister Gloria from the ages of 7 to 9. My son Raven, my middle son, he stayed with my mom from the age of 3 to 4. And my girls I gave them to their dad, and my baby was 6 years to adulthood. And I also became physically abusive to my two oldest boys when they were between the ages of 8 and 12. And since 2009, I've been on a mission to make amends with my children, to help them to help them understand how and why I did what I did. Now their story begins. Chimigwich. I would like to give a special, very special, special thank you to Mandy Olson, my counselor, and my tech support, along with Bobby Hudon. Without them, I would never have been able to make these videos. So I am completely 100% computer illiterate. I'm just kidding. I can type over it. Anyways, that's. I want to give them very, very special thank you because they helped me when I needed it, and that's what we need to do. We need to help each other when we need it. Miigwech. Wama pig wa milk.